All right, guys, let's do, just going to do a bit of warm-up with you guys, okay? I'm just going to go to Window. Anytime you're in Photoshop. Ooh, I'm not in Photoshop. Anytime you're in Photoshop, you don't see your tools, just go to Window Tools, okay? So we're cool. For some reason, I have an area that you guys cannot see. All right, so background here. I'm going to create an empty layer for myself. And I'm just going to draw, okay? So what we always do is we start up with warm-ups, right? So I'm at 33%, no problem. 50%, that's cool. I'm just going to take my brush tool, and lately I've been using multiply, but let's just go to normal right now, and just, what I do is I like to do ghosting, so you can click one spot, the next spot. One spot, next spot, ghost over, 1, 2, 1, 2, like this, and I just keep going, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it starts strong, go over. This is kind of a warm-up for, pardon me, warm-up exercise, okay? I'm going to press R right now and rotate this. And what I like to do is actually, back to brush. Since I'm left-handed, I'm more comfortable going from right to left, right? So what you want to do is have parallel lines going over. And usually we do this with a pencil, but since I'm recording this and I'm not using a document camera, this is okay. So I'm just going to spin around again. And again, you guys are doing this. And the key to this exercise, and my students, you know this, ghosting is one aspect of it. The other part is, do not draw with just your wrist. You have to move from your elbow. If you don't move with your elbow, then you're going to end up doing this, okay? So we don't want to do that. If we move with our wrist and elbow together in conjunction, we'll be pretty cool, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, and I move, strong lines, boom, like that, okay? So play R, press R again in Photoshop, hold the space bar, and then B for brush, we're good to go. So again, they're perpendicular to each other, so I'm just going boom, back and forth. And you know, like, don't worry about it if you don't get it right on the money. So we're just trying to make parallel lines, okay? And again, this is, press R again, reset, good to go, okay? So there's that. Let me get my lasso tool, you know, really fast, free transform, Command T, make that smaller, return, Command D, deselect, or Control D, deselect. Okay, one of the first things from lines, we'll move to, actually, let's do something else here. Let's do the importance of creating a line, okay? So for example, point A, for example, and point B. In order for this to be a line, we need 2 points to connect, right? So 1 to 2, so there it is, right? So I have my B. Okay, so that's in order to create a line, again, from A to B, so you need to connect your points. Okay, so one of the things we work together, whoa, that was kind of wild. One of the first things I do is I kind of try to teach people the old sense of geometry, creating a perfect square. So I'm just eyeballing it here. It's easier for me to do this on paper. So notice that, imagine you had a compass. You went from here to there and you just rotate it, right? So that's kind of cool. Check it out. So look what comes up from this. If you go straight up from here to the top, okay, there it is. And I didn't hold shift. That was actually a free line. Boom, right? Like that. And these connect will make relatively a perfect square, okay? So that's not bad. What I want to do next, again, I'm just going to go over what I did here. Just one open that way, one this way. Good enough, right? I can actually, normally my students will see that there's an intersecting point here, okay? And what's really cool about this now, we can make a perfect triangle. See? In here. And I'm going to come over here, A to B, and boom, hit there. And I made myself a perfect triangle. So within a square, little arcs, you've got that. Next thing I can do is actually I can divide my line, each line, midpoints, okay? And then I'm just going to click here, hold shift, come down, click over here, hold shift, come across. So now you notice that we divided a square into 4 quarters, quadrants, 4 quarters, right? The next thing, what I can do is, we know that we can make circles out of this. Some of you know that I sometimes, well, you know, in order to do a circle, we're going to have to go diagonally now, all right? So watch this now. One, cross, boom. And I'm going to spin around my sheet this way, and a whole space bar. And I'm going to try to go diagonally here, okay? So basically, this is the center point, right? Like that. And press R, rotate again. Make sure I hit the center. Okay, 1, 2, 3, boom. There it is, right? So this is my center. What's really cool about this, if I divide my line in each quarter into 3 parts, 1, 2, 3, check it out, 1, divide it into thirds, right? roughly. Again, I'm just quickly eyeballing. It doesn't have to be perfect. So what you can do now, I'm going to press R, reset, and I can, if I come from here to this point to that point, I can make a pretty good arc. Not bad, right? So from here there, again, I'm using a tablet here. Not that easy to do this, but roughly that's where that should be, and roughly where this should be. So again, what we just made right here is a circle. Pretty cool, right? So a circle within a square. If anybody challenges you how to do that, this is the method, okay? So, so that's a little bit of geometry for us, all right? Now I'll get my lasso tool, Command T, and resize that. We will use this in perspective exercises, pressing V to move, and Command D or Control D to deselect. So we'll come back to that later on when we're doing perspectives. We're making isometric drawings, volumetric shapes. The next thing I do with you guys, when we warm up quickly here, brush tool again, we'll make ovals. And normally, this is what I see. Most people will do that once and then move on. What I'd like you to do is when you are making an oval, doesn't matter, okay? Just go over the line, okay? Just go over the line, who cares? Don't worry about anything, just make this part, 1, 2, 3. Go over it and give it some distinction. Once you get comfortable, the point is you're sketching, right? We're not making beautiful drawings, and then we're trying to do vertical lines, right? So vertical, vertical, over and over. And again, this works really well with a pencil, right? And I'm trying to do this on the tablet here, which is kind of cool. Okay, so the idea is, you know, you can come over here, go over your line, and this is kind of like warm-up exercises for me. Obviously, you know that if I do a second one in here, second one down here, another one down here, and again, notice that I'm just going over it. Okay, I don't care where this goes, but the key is I'm getting it into sketching fast forms, right, and simple shapes. Okay, there's ways that we can divide this into 4, and I'm not going to touch that right now. We're just going to go over something. So in a way, you're warming up. Okay, let's work on this one as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that. Just go over it, come down, and so on. This would work actually a lot better when I change this into multiply, for example. So if I come over it, so it gets darker, and then, see that? Kind of cool, right? 100%. I'm not changing my opacity to 80 or anything like that, like I do sometimes in my character design module in my animation class, ComTech. This is tech design. We're just having fun. What's really cool about this oval shape, folks, I'm holding the space bar here. Watch this now, right? I can make a hemisphere, right? A hemisphere. If I continue that, then you can get yourself a nice oval, a sphere, right? So again, this is the center, and you can actually turn that this way as well. Okay, so again, in my tech design classes, we'll just start doing that really rough, and then come around, okay? And these are just warm-ups. And then if I just do this, some of my kids know that this could be a Weber grill or something. Who cares? We're just making it up right now down here below. Cool. Okay? And then it's very simple. These are all warm-up exercises I think we can all do at times. Now, if I'm looking at this sheet, I notice that my diagonal lines, right? And let's see what I was going to do with you guys right now. So this is oval shapes. And notice, you know what, let's just continue on this cylinder business. So if you have this, for example, make another cylinder, right? And knock these points together roughly, right? Now we've got something developing here, right? So if I come down here, do something like really fast, and then all of a sudden, this may be a lamp of some kind, right? Right? So I can make a desk lamp, right? Technically, when you're doing this kind of stuff, just make a straight line, right? And then try to knock these ovals within the center, okay? And then you just go like that. You can even try, you know, put a curve on it. This could be a pendant from a ceiling, right? So, okay, so that's kind of cool. So you see there's a lot of applications to these forms. I'm not just drawing cylinders. This is a famous one. I don't know if you guys have seen these at all. Let's see if I can do that here. Turn it over. Umbra. I think it was Karen Rashid's first huge successful design. And you can see now with a tapered cylinder, starting from here, which is this, right? Right? We can go to that. So designing form is just a process, guys. I'm giving you the skills that You guys can do whatever you want, okay? So here we go. So we just had a garbage pail, right? That's where the handle is, in here, like that. We have a pendant light, okay? So maybe something like that, right? From the ceiling, I can just go diagonal lines here. That represents the ceiling wall, I mean the floor. And look at that. So again, this kind of shape is pretty cool, right? So what I'll try to do in the future is do a bunch of these for you guys. And just, these are warm-ups, right? Nothing's stopping us from doing these forms over and over. Okay, so my character design class, if I just zoom in here for a second in space, if I had a character, for example, here, usually people have a character standing like that. And what we do is kind of get the pelvis, get the forms down here, like that. And I have a second character, here's my character, right? So what you would do now, once you're comfortable with this system here, you kind of start actually thinking this form has actually a truncated
Excuse me, interrupted.
piece.
Chris from Ramcom, if you're still in the building, please return back to the main office. Chris from Ramcom, if you're still in the building, please return back to the main office. Thank you.
This is what happens when you can actually have your arm, right? So you can work in shapes here, okay? So again, for the legs, for example, if your legs were here and here, I'm just going to go in here, make a cylinder, down, same thing. This way on an angle, but you got to just taper it, okay? So again, this would work for us. Okay, so, so these kind of cylinders are used not only in a tech design class, but in a comm tech class where you're working the baseline of a character, right? So, and this is pretty cool. Wow, I've hit 12 minutes. So sketching 101, guys. Let's have fun with this, okay? Balian out. Thanks a lot. All right, guys. Let's do, just going to do a bit of warm-up with you guys, okay? I'm just going to go to window.